What's up, guys? Welcome to Faceoff today. I'm Sam, coming over from Dynasty Drip, which is my channel as well. This is my first time going live on the Faceoff channel alone. Going to start doing this every Tuesday night. So thank you guys for anyone that joined in. Pretty excited to get into some stuff today. First, we're going to start it off with some rookie ADP values. Going to use some information from Dynasty Data Lab. And then we had a couple people on Twitter submit a couple rosters that we're going to go over. Maybe go over kind of what sort of team we are looking at with these teams. Are they in a rebuild? Are they a contender? What kind of moves should they maybe make? We have some screenshots from those two rosters as well. So I'm pretty excited to get into that. If you are joining the channel here, make sure to subscribe to the Faceoff channel and make sure to search over Dynasty Drip and subscribe to my channel as well. Super stoked to be collabing with them moving forward, doing a bunch of Dynasty content, maybe some redraft stuff as well. And thank you guys for tuning in. So we're going to get this kicked off. We're going to head over to Dynasty Data Lab and start going over some of my favorite ADPs. If you are joining the channel today, if you are posting a comment on the stream, I will get to all those comments when I can, and I want to answer every single question. Make sure to subscribe to Faceoff and subscribe to Dynasty Drip on YouTube as well if you want to get your comment answered. But kicking off today's stream, we're going to go over to Dynasty Data Lab, something I personally really like. I was actually introduced to this tool by the Faceoff guys about a month or so ago when I came over. And it just has a lot of very fun information. Definitely some very good ADP information, which is something I like to look at when I'm going into my rookie drafts, just to compare and contrast my own rankings within kind of just how I'm doing my rookie drafts. You know, not only do I want to draft based on my own rankings, but I also want to know when I need to reach or when I can wait a little bit to draft some of my guys so that I get them for the best possible price. So just before we get into this, looks like we already have a question. Looks like good evening, Hustlin' Bruce. Appreciate you joining in, dude. Would you trade Omarion Hampton for James Cook in a 2026 mid-first 14-team PPR? Personally, for me, I think I would stick with Hampton on this one. I may be higher than consensus. I have Hampton at my 2. Looks like ADP-wise, that's about where he's going. I like James Cook, and I think a mid-first could be good. I really don't like to really ever assume that a pick is going to be mid or early. I like to assume everything's kind of going to be late-ish potentially. So I think I'm not really trading Hampton yet until I see what I have in him. I think if you are going to trade the 1-2, I think I would be aiming a lot higher. And I probably really wouldn't be trading 1-2 unless I'm getting potentially a top 15 to 20 dynasty asset in return, plus maybe some capital. So for that specific trade, I would say no. Thanks for tuning in, Bruce. Make sure to subscribe to both channels. But going over here on Dynasty Data Lab, a couple guys I wanted to highlight. I'm going to start with a guy at each position that I do like their ADP at, and I think are good deals just according to where they're kind of falling in ADP. So first one on the board that I want to talk about is going to be a quarterback. I think that's going to be Jackson Dart right here, rank 14 according to Dynasty Data Lab here. Something I like about Dynasty Data Lab is it kind of tracks their ADP history as well. So as you kind of see, he is kind of rising up almost into 111 right now. I think that is really more where I probably would be targeting him. I understand not reaching on him over some of the running backs, you know, Travion and Judkins here. I don't think I would really reach on him. I think Emeka is interesting. But then kind of, unless you're in a tight end premium league where you want to target these tight ends, which I definitely love in a tight end premium format, I think you got to start looking at Dart and Emeka and Harvey and Johnson kind of right after this Judkins Travion tier, because when it comes down to it, Dart was a first round pick and he's going to get a chance to play on this team, man. It's, you know, I like Russ, whatever. He's probably going to get benched by the end of the season. And as sad as it is to say, the Giants do have some weapons, man. They do have Malik Neighbors, and they have two good running backs as well in Scadaboo and Tracy, and potentially a improving offensive line. Hopefully Thomas can stay healthy this year. But I think Jackson Dart is a pretty good value here. If you can trade into the early part of the second and Dart is still there, I definitely don't hate that. Something you could try is maybe you can trade 2 late seconds to try to trade up. For me, I really don't ever really mind trading a couple later seconds to get one more elite player onto my team. Now, wide receiver wise, I think someone who really stands out to me is having just immense value and is really just a lot farther down in the ADP ranks, at least according to Dynasty Data Lab, than I personally have him. And that's Kyle Williams, all the way down here at wide receiver 10. I mean, I wouldn't take him over Golden. I wouldn't take him over Burden. I personally have Williams kind of right in here with this Higgins, Trey Harris, Jack Beck tier. I would take Higgins over him, but I think I could totally see taking Williams right in here. He has a chance to be the number one weapon in the passing game for that team, especially for the Patriots. I mean, Diggs coming back from an injury. I think Trayvon's going to be very involved as well, but I think it's an exciting offense potentially moving forward. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Patriots kind of be a surprise team this year and next year. Vrabel is a very good head coach, man. I was a Tennessee Titans fan. I was sad to see him leave. He gets the most out of his players, and I wouldn't really expect any difference than him getting the most out of Drake May. And you have a chance to get Drake May's potential number one offensive weapon on the outside in Kyle Williams here in the early third round. I would feel very comfortable taking him in the late second. Not going to reach in the early second, but I think mid to late second, Kyle Williams is a great guy to target. Now, moving on to a couple of my favorite running back targets. First, I want to highlight someone all the way down here in round 4, Jarquez Hunter. Going to the Rams, I think he was a pretty good player in the SEC. I think that's important to keep in mind that some of these guys coming from the SEC have played against elite competition. Looks like his ADP is really rising, only a couple picks, still early 4th round. I feel very comfortable taking Hunter in the 3rd round, maybe closer to kind of where Sampson, Arroyo. I wouldn't take Devin Neal this high. I would take Hunter over a lot of these guys in this late 3rd round, especially the wide receiver here, Howard, Ollie Gordon. I don't know, man. I could almost make the argument to take him kind of right in here after Sampson. I like Sampson and Blue. But for me, that's kind of where I'm at. And, love this from Adam and Arok here tuning in, putting some trade ideas out for each other. That's what Dynasty is all about, guys. And keep tuning in. I'm trying to get to as many questions as I can. If you have some comments, I want to highlight you guys. That's what's fun about going live. Something I haven't been able to do on my own channel yet. We're trying to build the following. So if you can, head on over there, hit subscribe, help me get to 1,000. For now, let's engage on this channel, though, and make sure to hit subscribe on Faceoff as well. Last target I want to talk about, though, personally for me, someone who I think is one of the best targets in rookie draft here, especially if you're in a tight end premium league. It's going to be a tight end, and that's going to be Terrence Ferguson. What I like about Ferguson is a lot of the notes that came out about him and how the Rams felt. They personally came out and said that they were comfortable taking him with their 1st round pick. They traded down, still got him. So I think he needs to be valued as a little higher, honestly, probably even than Taylor. Now, I like Taylor as a comment, as a talent as well, but I don't really know if Justin Fields is the guy to unlock Taylor. Now, I like his draft capital as well, but I don't see any reason that Ferguson shouldn't really be going up in this range if you're in a tight end premium league. I understand, if it's not a tight end premium league and you have some elite weapons, like you don't really need to reach on tight end except the elite ones, because most likely they're not really going to be a difference maker for you. And I think that's something you always have to keep in mind in a tight end league if you're just doing a single tight end, is that unless this guy's going to be scoring points that are a difference-making amount, it's really not worth it. But once you kind of get to this late 2nd, early 3rd, I think this is kind of the money zone to start taking stabs on some of these tight ends. Because after you get past some of these elite prospects, I mean, I like Jalen Milroe, but he's a dart throw, man. I like, Jalen Noel, sure, maybe he takes over for Christian Kirk. I think that's a pretty good comp for him. But that's a maybe. I would bump Kyle Williams up there according to this ADP. But I think that's stuff you really have to keep in mind. Like, Ferguson he had the tape at Oregon, and you got to keep in mind the opportunity is going to be there for the Rams. I mean, throughout the years, when Higbee's been on the field, he's been a decent fantasy starter. And you got to say, like, for that, he really has potential to be one of the best values of this Dynasty rookie class, especially if you're getting him in the third round. I mean, if you can pair, let's say you're rebuilding your team, you can get a running back in Genty or Hampton at 1-1, 1-2. You can get a wide receiver at 2-1, 2-2 in, Luther Burden or something, Matthew Golden, then get a tight end in the third. I think that's pretty good value. And especially for Ferguson, I think he's someone everyone should have on their list there. Now, we're going to